and welcome. I'm Melinda Kinami. Tonight, chaos in Owerri as traders clash with security operatives in an attempt to stop their relocation from a major market in the Imo State capital. "5,000 delegates vote in Anambra APC primaries to decide their flag bearer in the state governorship elections in November. Northern elders move to resolve clashes between herdsmen and farmers in Benue State as they decry seeming silence by the federal government on the matter. And severe flooding expected as Hurricane Harvey smashes into U.S. state of Texas, first of its kind to hit the country in 13 years.
And on business news tonight, global oil prices rise as refineries and offshore platforms on the U.S. Gulf of Mexico shut down amid impact of Hurricane Harvey.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria's The Tigress advanced to the final of the FIBA Women's Afrobasket with 48-47 win over Mali.
We begin tonight with the destruction of the Ekuku market in Owerri by the Imo State government. Traders at the city's biggest market resumed their businesses only to be stopped by heavily guided bulldozers that pulled down their structures. The state government says it had informed the traders about the relocation of the market, but they had failed to heed the warnings. The people say the action is coming earlier than anticipated and accuse the government of not creating an alternative for them.
Bulldozers moving in the early hours of the day. And unwanted guests to shop owners and traders at the Ekuku market, the biggest in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The heavy presence of security operatives sends a signal on the sensitivity of what's about to happen, and the traders and passers-by do not have an option than to comply. And then the bulldozers move in, pulling down the structures that had been marked. From one building to the other, the market gradually comes down. The traders watch with anger written all over their faces, but they had been warned earlier by the state government. Others are left with no option but to hurriedly pick up what's left of their wares. They also burnt down heaps of refuse left by the roadside.
The procedure of relocating markets, you take census of the existing, and then you give them a period. You build the new sites and relocate them before you destroy the old sites.
What we are appealing is that the trader here as a Ekuku market, we need this congestion, not relocation.
The state government had identified the market as a hub for heinous crimes, and it had to make a decision to either allow those crimes continue or find a lasting solution.
This is a thing that has been there for the past 5 years and many years before I even come as governor. This center is the most notorious center in Imo State. This is the headquarters of all kidnapping activities, court activities, armed robbery activities, and drugs. And over time, we have told them about the location of this market. I told them over 5 years ago, and control repeatedly have told them. But so far, what we are doing now is to demolish all the illegal structures and court and kidnapping hideouts within the city, and where young boys are trained with drugs and cocaine and what have you. And so far it's going well. I think everybody seems to like what is going on, because this is the best thing that will ever happen to Imo State.
This is what is left of the market hours after. The police had also denied killing anyone in the process. But the mission has been accomplished. The traders may have lost their all. What is left is for the state government to speed up the completion of the new market so that these people can indeed see the justification of the government's action.
And still on the demolition exercise in Imo State, our correspondent Ejected witnessed the destruction and gives us an update of the situation.
It's been a busy day down here in Owerri, the Imo State capital, following the chaos that greeted the relocation of the Ekuku Market, popularly known as Douglas Market, by the Imo State government to a new site. However, some traders are back in their shops this evening trying to pack some of their goods to a safer place, maybe pending the time they will move to the permanent site. Security operatives are everywhere in the market to ensure that there is no further breakdown of law and order. And as you can hear, you could hear sirens and police vehicles moving around to ensure that the nooks and crannies of Imo State is secured. From Owerri, the Imo State capital, Ejected reporting for Channels Television News.
To politics now. Voting is still ongoing at the All Progressives Congress governorship primaries holding in Awka, the Anambra State capital. From all indications, the voting might run into the dead of the night. That's because the process, which was slated to begin at 9 a.m., did not take off until noon. One of the 11 aspirants jostling for the party's governorship ticket, Mr. Chike Odigu, pulled out of the race, leaving the other 10 aspirants, 9 men and 1 woman, to continue. At least 5,430 delegates will pick just one candidate who will eventually be the party's flag bearer at the governorship elections in November. It's been a nightmare for motorists plying the Asaba-Onitsha Expressway. They spend long hours on the road due to gridlock. Some of the commuters who spoke to Channels Television are appealing to the federal government to fix the bad portions at the Asaba end of the road.
This is the Niger Bridge, linking Onitsha in Anambra State and Asaba in Delta State. It's regularly plied by individuals traveling to neighboring states in the eastern part of the country. In Delta State, some commuters who ply the Asaba-Onitsha Expressway are having it tough as a result of the bad road. The state of the road has generated a gridlock as commuters carefully struggle to make their way through.
Since about 2 hours we were on the road.
It affected my business now because now people are calling me off my shop.
The government should do what they promised the masses.
In order to ease their pain, security operatives have been deployed to the area to ensure better movement of vehicles, but unfortunately, some take advantage of the situation.
Is it that Okwe Junction, that particular spot, that there's a big gully? That's the place that is causing all this thing. And then these army people that is standing here, these are people that are seriously disturbing because they're always there, stopping all these big trucks to collect money.
For the Delta State government, devolution of powers at the center remains the only solution to some of the challenges facing the country.
The federal government tends to have carried so much load that it cannot actually shoulder. If you have a lot of federal rules across the 36 states of the federation and you don't have enough time to tackle them, why not leave those federal rules for the states and then let the money that you are taking on account of that also move to the states, so in which case the states are able to address them.
Road usage in Nigeria is inevitable as it's the only major form of transportation. If the roads can be well maintained by the users and the authorities, perhaps motorists will be able to move around without having to struggle with portions of the road.
From the east, let's head to the north, where a group of elders have asked the federal government to address the crisis between farmers and herdsmen. They blame the federal government for failing to evolve a nationwide transition program for herdsmen to embrace ranching as a solution to the persistent clashes. The members mentioned this while meeting with the governor of Benue State, Samuel Othom, in Makurdi.
Now, Benue has taken the bull by the horn, as they say. We have to put a proposition for capital-intensive possibility for these transitional situations where the herdsmen are taught to range and to know that there are bitter times during transitional periods, and therefore the federal government cannot avoid the responsibility of coming in to assist all the states and harmonize all these problems. There is no doubt about it.
Benue State, in particular, was under siege since 2012. 13 local governments were completely displaced out of 23 local governments, including my own local government. While serving as minister, was attacked and destroyed, and that day alone, 53 of my people were murdered in cold blood. My farm was razed down and destroyed.
2 weeks after the United Nations Office for Drug and Crime and the National Bureau of Statistics published a report indicting the Nigerian police and the judiciary as leading corrupt government institutions, the Inspector General of Police is faulting that report. The police boss insists that the premise upon which the report was based is wrong. However, rights activists are of the opinion that the police should use the report as a mirror and rid itself of corruption.
On August the 16th, 2017, the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime and the National Bureau of Statistics released the 2017 National Corruption Survey, which reveals that 400 billion naira is spent annually on bribes. The report, which is tagged Corruption in Nigeria, Bribery as Experienced by the Population, alleges that the police and the judiciary are among the top bribe takers in Nigeria. According to the report, 46.4% of Nigeria's population have had bribery contact with the police, 33% with prosecutors, and 31.5% with judges and magistrates in the year 2016. The police, however, disagrees, as the Inspector General of Police faults the procedures that led to the final report.
For the last 3 years, up to now, we have not had any police officer found for corruption practices, involvement in corruption. The news are very rampant. All of us read news every day. So, and from what the PPRO has said, he went into a program that even that, the UNODC agreed that the format they adopt to come to that conclusion is a faulty format. It's not based on verifiable data. So what I'm saying is that that assessment is false in its entirety and there is no truth in it.
But instead of faulting the process, rights activists want the police to look inward and rid itself of any corrupting influences.
I think our major concern now is that federal government must act quickly. The federal government must act quickly in ensuring that the Nigerian police force is restructured and is put in a better shape. We are expecting when the IG came on board, people who have good relationship with him, some of us who have close interaction with his antecedents and his program, we know he's well schooled, he studied law, and he has gone to so many places abroad to learn so many things. We are thinking that he will use his exposure to revamp and to revitalize the Nigerian police force value system. But the Nigerian police force value system is on the decline every day, and we must be concerned about it. So I think the report concerning the issue of corruption in the Nigerian police force is just an addendum. The federal government must quickly address the leadership of the Nigerian police force in ensuring that there is change in the system.
Since the 2017 National Corruption Survey was released 2 weeks ago, analysts have continued to argue very strongly that the allegations in that document are too important to be treated with levity and should not be swept under the carpet.
In part 2, after the break, we take a look at the potential of information technology as a viable alternative in Nigeria's diversification drive. That's in a moment. Join us again.